Iho, bonsoir, good night. My name is Dr. Francis Scully. I'm exhausted. I'm looking at big circles under my eyes, and it's midnight. I'm going to be quick here. I have been trying, I do teach, so I'm mostly retired as a former academic clinical hematologist oncologist. And I started off work in pediatrics, and so on. My late husband was an infectious disease specialist. So although that's not been the main focus of my life since about 2017, uh, good infectious disease practices and pediatrics, dear to my heart. And pediatricians, and nurses, and pharmacists, people who work with children who are sick and work in public health, and people who work on vaccination programs, and the researchers, and the specialists. I want you to know you're all very dear to my heart. Dear to my heart. I love science, and I love Western medicine, and I love evidence-based medicine. And I was always so impressed with those ACIP people. They were all so good. And I don't know this current 17 just because I haven't been involved lately. I'm sure they're still good. And I'm sure when I read more about them, I'll be crying. But I'm so sorry that I only heard about everybody being let go by Kennedy 6 days ago or whatever. I only heard this tonight because I guess I'm so busy watching. I was so concerned about all the ICE raids and all the other things that fell on Trump, the corruption, the sending the people, the cruelty, the sending the people off to all the terrible things that he's doing, and the accidents and the attacks on science everywhere, the attacks on the NASA scientists, the attacks on the vets, the attacks on children and their poor children, and oh God, the list of people being attacked is just, and then I was, hoping that the big marches on Saturday would go well, and kudos and gratitude and thanks and kudos to all the brave Americans and all the well-spoken Democratic senators who speak out about all the evil that is happening at such risk. And Melissa Horwood, is that her name? Anyway, the lady who was killed, murdered on Saturday. Oh, that was so sad. So sad. Hartman, I think, yes. And even her, her close colleague, but who was also her competitor, was crying, talking about her. Oh, it was terrible. And I read somewhere today in Substack that her children had said about the loss of their parents, to in their honor to plant a tree. And I just want to tell you, I'm planning to plant some trees. I'm looking at pines because of pinans, and I will plant them in memory of your parents, and to pet a dog. And I have two dogs, and I'm petting them all the time. So anyway, all the things you had on the list, I'm doing all the time, and I will do them in terms of your wonderful parents. And it is just too horrible what happened on Saturday. So there's all that, and then this war in Iran. And I live in Logie Bay, Newfoundland and Labrador, so the flights go over my head. And when the war was happening in Ukraine first, I could hear all these military planes, and then after October the 8th and the dreadful, heinous, brutal Hamas attack, and then the dreadful response, I could hear all these flying over. So I have also been trying to post and support serious peacemakers and the poor Alma people who are stranded in Paris because of the war in Iran. I was thinking, why were they stranded in Paris? It's because Netanyahu started another war. Because if we didn't have enough, just let's have another war. Anyway, sorry, I just have to calm down. So anyway, so I have been focused on all the war. And then we had the spectacle of the G7 in Alberta. And I was very sad that the reporters were not asking, what was the plan for a new ecological civilization? Because, darlings, every journalist in Canada ought to be asking, what are we doing to create an ecological civilization? Because the way we're going now is not good. It is not good. I'm sorry. I know 40% of people in Alberta are very angry. They're probably going to be very angry with me. I'm sorry. Look, I didn't make all the rules, but I do believe in God. And there was a reason why those fossil fuels were buried thousands of so deep beneath the ocean and so on. Don't you think? You know, they're meant to be down there. We're not supposed to be burning fossil fuels. I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry. I know the whole Canadian economy is based on energy, and fossil fuels, and people just can't cope with the thought that this is maybe not what we should be doing anymore. And I understand it's confusing and terrifying, and life is too complicated. But it's not what we should be doing anymore, darlings. We have to move on. Anyway, I was getting ready to talk about that and the importance of biodiversity and the importance of science and how we cannot have this Bill 5, which is like the equivalent of the Trump bill, only it's Canadian. We cannot have Bill 5. We cannot have another attack. Look, Trump is already destroying science and the CDC and NASA and Harvard. He's attacking Harvard, Columbia. For God's sake, don't attack all the scientists in Canada. Please don't. Please don't. Oh, just don't do it. Anyway, so I was trying to sort of calm myself down so I could speak nicely to people about the need for a new ecological civilization. Economics that is based not on the GDP. And there's a very nice economist who's Canadian who writes on Substack, and I suggested he critique a book and he didn't like it, and that's fine. So, because I have a whole bunch of other books, I'll ask him if possible to critique. But basically, the bottom line is that he thinks Trump is the only problem, and he's not the only problem. The problem is that 2024 is the hottest year on record, and 2025 is going to be the hottest year on record. And we're having these horrible, terrifying wildfires. And even worse than all that, there's just been a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful meeting about the ocean in Nice. And again, they're saying that the rate we're going, we're killing all the fish. We're killing all the fish, everything that lives in the sea, because we're acidifying the sea. We're overheating it, and fish are very sensitive to temperature, and we're pouring plastic. There's going to be more plastic in the sea than fish. And I made the mistake of watching, there's these wonderful filmmakers, they make these films for the planet, and I watched their movie a couple of years ago called The Albatross. Heartbreaking. Who knew? I didn't know the albatross. They're so cute. They do these little dances together. They're such good parents. And they fly all over the place. And they're picking up plastic. And their babies die horrible deaths because they're choking on the plastic. Oh, it's awful. Awful. Anyway, so, I was trying to get past all that, just think about how much we love the ocean. And I'm hoping to get a little group of friends to watch the movie Ocean by Attenborough, which we haven't seen yet, and I was going to try and watch it with them. And then I thought, if depending on what everybody thought, we might try promoting that movie, and maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll get people interested, because it's better if people come from a place of love. It always is. Anyway, so that's where I was trying to go, and then I just should have been gone to bed. I was going to bed at 10 o'clock, and I made the mistake of turning on the news. And somehow I got onto the CDC thing, and the fact that Kennedy, there's the Louisiana Kennedy, who I find so disturbing. Oh my dear, you went to Oxford, you're smart as a whip and making lots of money, and you talk like this hick. Very creepy, very creepy. And then there's the other creepy Kennedy, like two creepy Kennedys. Two creepy Robert Kennedys. Oh dear Lord. Oh dear God, protect us from harm. Oh dear Lord. Thanks. Give us wisdom, give us strength, teach us how to survive all of this. Yeah, I really feel like, it's got an awful resemblance to the Stalin witch trials and the Cultural Revolution in China. God, I hope it doesn't get that bad. Yeah. Attacks. Anybody with a brain seems to be the people they're attacking. Very sad. Very sad. But anyway, so then I turned on the CBC, and thanks be to God, there was Ian Hannamansing. What a wonderful man, and what a wonderful CBC is so wonderful. And I'm going to have to get his book. I had sort of thought I didn't, because I've so much things to read, but now I think I'm going to have to read this, and I hope Ian Hannamansing can get into this whole vaccine thing, because it's such a mess, and he's such a good communicator. So that anyway, thank you, Ian Hannamansing. And then there was a young mother in Calgary, Jacqueline Thorne, and she was talking about what she had to do to get her little baby immunized against measles, and she was lovely too. And then there was this incredible Dr. Lenora Saxinger, who's not sure exactly, but definitely very intelligent vaccine or infectious disease, or both specialist. And she spoke very calmly, very with compassion and empathy and intelligently about the measles vaccine and the timing of it. She was exactly the way I usually find all these vaccine people. They're saints, like they're great patients, and they're very dedicated, and they're always, because the data changes all the time. It's exhausting, like to can't keep track. I know exactly what to tell people, and they're always so good at it. So it's to think those people are now being attacked. I mean, is there any limit to the people? I mean, yeah, and I mean, like my sons are brown, so all this attack of browns people doesn't make me very happy. Yeah, and their friends are all different shades, every color of the rainbow, and I don't want any of them attacked either. So, oh dear Lord, yeah, it's these are not good times. These are not good times. But anyway, I was trying to, because other people who were environmentalists were upset on Substack, and I was going to try to be calm and sort of say, okay, no, and I still am. We'll get through this. We'll get through this, everybody. And I want to say a big thank you to all the lovely, lovely, lovely people who work in research and evidence-based medicine and public health and pediatrics, all the nurses and all the technicians and all the pharmacists and doctors and admin, all the different people, and the companies who are really the pharmaceutical companies. Some, there's always a group who are just into money, but there's an awful lot of other people who really put their heart and soul into solving very difficult medical problems, and they work really hard and they come up with great solutions. And anyway, I just want to say thank you to all the people who do that, and I'm so sorry to the ASAP people. And I've even renewed my I had stopped getting the New England Journal because I don't do acute care stuff now, and I was off doing other things and studying other things, but I just signed up again. I thought I got it. And there was a big article about and the person who I'll talk more about that, but it was a doctor saying how shocked he is, and good for him to say how shocked he is about what has happened to that vaccine committee. Oh, that's sad. That is sad. What is wrong with these Kennedys? Like, oh dear Lord, what's got into them? Intelligent people who were educated, and this is how they behave. It's very disturbing. It is, because I work with my little partner in Africa, and they've nothing, and we're trying to work out how to get uniforms for kids to go to school, and then I'm thinking, well, I'm hoping going to school is going to help these kids, but did it help these two? I don't know. What goes wrong? What goes wrong? Like there's other people who go to school and they turn like Dr. Lenora Saxinger. So very calm, wise, well thought out, empathetic, lovely. there we go. So blessings on everybody. Please God, this terrible latest war will stop. All the wars will stop. Please God, people will calm down, and please God, Canadians will decide it is time to make changes to our economy that are based on science, not politics, on science. Please nicely. There are a lot of very intelligent people in Canada. It's a beautiful country. There are lots of good people. So why not get some of the intelligent people instead of just, just being mouthpieces for big oil? What do you got to lose? Why not get some intelligent people in there to talk about renewable energy? It's not going to be easy. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but life's never easy anyway. Come on, never was. So why not, let's make it better. Why not? Let's put money into, this carbon capture stuff. We know it's Lula. That's bullshit. The science is not there. Come on. And the hydrogen economy? Hype. AI, hype. And you're ruining people's lives. Oh my God. But, I'm no expert, but the papers seem to be showing that there are now techniques that will break down these awful forever chemicals, these PFAs. There's 3,000 of them, and they're poisoning the water supply in Torbay. And a lot of them are used in firefighting and military bases and near airports. There's pollution right across Canada and across the world. And apparently there are techniques. I don't know how to do them, but it is similar to the sort of technological knowledge that is needed in the oil and gas industry. So now you've got all these highly trained engineers and technologists and people who make pipes and all that sort of thing. And I don't quite know. I don't understand it, and I don't claim to understand it, but people are saying, to commercialize it is going to be a lot of work, but this needs to be done. We have so much pollution. Look at all that plastic in the ocean. No, that's where we should be investing money. How to get the plastic out of the ocean. Apparently there's some Dutch people with some great ideas. Well, I'm sure there's Canadians. There are very smart people in Canada. Very smart and lovely. So why not let's get the lovely, smart people with creative ideas to come up with things that we can do to get rid of all the toxins, the glycophosphate that we're pouring into the forest. Let's give up that. Huh? Why don't we just stop doing that? Huh? Why don't we just stop poisoning ourselves? How about that? Oh, and because it's going to take a while to undo climate change, because we've stuck so much methane as well as carbon dioxide and other volatile gases into the atmosphere, why not have a national fire service? A national fire service. Forget about Bill 5. Worry about a national fire service. Can you do that? It'd be lovely. Okay. Ihawa, Kalasov. Thanks to all the sane, calm, good people working so hard. And thanks to all you Lulas who are, really stimulating me to pray more than I've ever prayed in my entire life. Because I don't know what else to do. I don't know where you're all coming from. The Kennedys of this world, the Trumps. I don't know. But anyway, because I can't deal with you. So I'll just have to ask God in heaven to tell me how to cope. Thank you. Kalasov, Ihoa, that's it.